Alright, guys, welcome to the first episode of the Anything Wrestling podcast. I am your host, Sean. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be talking about anything that is in regards to wrestling, whether that's in regards to something of the past, the future, the present. We're going to be covering it all. We're going to be doing reviews, previews, opinions, comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, takes on what the WWE is doing nowadays, what they could do better, what they're doing correctly. And today I thought we'd start off with a topic that probably hit everybody in the quote-unquote WWE universe. And it's a subject that no doubt everybody has an opinion on, whether you lean one way or the other. So this year at WrestleMania, we saw The Undertaker versus Roman Reigns, and in my opinion, we saw the wrong man win. We saw Roman Reigns win. Comes out next night on Raw to a huge disapproval from the fans. You know, he's getting chants thrown at him for a whole 8 minutes or so. I've probably watched that video about 2 or 3 times just to kind of go back and hear what everybody was chanting that night. I saw this match and I'm watching it live with my friends and I'm thinking, no way they're going to make Roman Reigns win. You know, Undertaker, yeah, okay, the streak was broken, which in my opinion the streak should have never been broken. I'll get to that in a second. I thought that when Roman Reigns won, it really didn't do anything, because let's think about it like this. Roman Reigns was already getting a push before he beat The Undertaker. You know, they always said that whoever beats The Undertaker should be a fresh guy who's trying to, you know, make an impact, who's on the mid-card and is going to go to that main event level. They needed a little bit of a push, you know, and perhaps beating The Undertaker at Mania would give that person that big push. So you think about it, before Undertaker faced Roman Reigns already, you know, was in a very successful tag team in the Shield. They won, you know, the tag team championships. After the Shield, you know, Roman Reigns, he does pretty well for himself, goes on a singles run, and he wins the Royal Rumble, again, way before beating Undertaker at Mania. Wins the Royal Rumble even though we didn't, and nobody wanted him to win. So Roman Reigns, he main events, you know, he's in the Money in the Bank matches, and he wins the WWE Championship from Triple H, once again, way before beating Undertaker. And then for whatever reason, they decide, hey, Roman Reigns could use a win against Taker at Mania. I don't see that at all, because Roman Reigns was having all this success before he beat Taker. So it's not like Roman Reigns was down in the dumps, he didn't have anything going for him. Let's have Roman Reigns beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. That just did not make sense to me. Honestly, let's go back to the streak. So in my opinion, the streak should have never been broken. Why? Because for the obvious, Undertaker is once in a lifetime athlete. You know, you will never find another guy like him, another gimmick like the Undertaker. He's the one guy where, even though social media has destroyed kayfabe, social media has, you know, blown down that, you know, fourth wall in wrestling, Undertaker, yeah, you would see him in, you know, different pictures here and there outside of the ring, but he was always very loyal to his Undertaker gimmick, to the Undertaker name. And once again, no one, you know, it's like, you look back, there are some things that you cannot take away from certain superstars. For example, you know, Hacksaw Jim Duggan won the first ever Royal Rumble. You can't give that to anybody else. Edge was the first ever Money in the Bank winner, and, you know, kind of introduced the whole cash-in idea. Nobody really knew what that was, and when you think about it, you know, Edge was kind of the first guy to do that. You think about it, Undertaker was the first guy to have a streak at Mania to go undefeated. And when he got defeated, I feel like it really wasn't necessary. In my opinion, The Undertaker, if Vince ever had an idea to break the streak way before it was broken, in my opinion, Undertaker should have retired where he was 20-0 against Triple H. And if you think about it, that match, you have 3 of the Attitude Era's finest, you know, aside from The Rock and Austin. 3 guys who were there in the prime of the Attitude Era, who were all in the ring at the same time, performing in one level or another, and they hug each other, they go up the ramp, and that's it. You know, and I feel like that's it. If they ever had any ideas to, you know, break the streak, it should have been like, that's it. Okay, Undertaker, you're 20-0. We're going to keep it at that. That's it. However, you know, they decided, hey, New Orleans, WrestleMania 30, the 30th anniversary, we're going to break the streak. I feel like it didn't make sense. There was absolutely no point in breaking the streak, in my opinion. And not that Lesnar didn't deserve it, you know. Lesnar, you know, is one of the most entertaining athletes right now, I believe, on the roster. He can do so much with so little, you know. And for anybody out there who says no, the guy can't wrestle because all he does is German suplexes, yeah, well, that's his gimmick now. You know, every single superstar, whether they're minor or major, mid card, main eventer, you know, pay per view opener, whatever it is, you need to have a gimmick. And a lot of people, they go through a lot of gimmick changes. For example, Chris Jericho, you know, when he first came in, he was, you know, Y2J, and you know, that kind of stayed on him. But then, you know, he came back in '08 wearing a suit and he was living the gimmick. He came back in 2015 or 16, and you know, he had the list with the scarf and all that. So Chris Jericho, he molded and he changed with the times. You can go back and look at Randy Orton. First, he was, you know, the young, cocky, new guy that came in. He transforms into the Legend Killer. And now, you know, later on in 2007, 8, 9 or so, he becomes, you know, the Apex Predator, the Viper, you know. Edge, you know, speaking of Edge, we were talking about him earlier. At first, he was, you know, it was Edge and Christian. And then he breaks away. He becomes King of the Ring 2001. He comes out, you know, he has a singles run. And he's doing great, and all of a sudden, you know, he goes and becomes the Rated R superstar, you know, and then he forms the, you know, Rated R KO tag team with Randy, who we were just talking about. So every single superstar goes through that transition. For Brock Lesnar, people who say, oh, he decides, you know, he can't wrestle. Not that he can't wrestle, he decides not to wrestle because his gimmick now has changed. You know, ever since Suplex City really kind of took into effect, it's like that's his gimmick now. He doesn't have to go out there and give you a 5-star match. He could if he wants to, I'm telling you. He really can if he wants to. But because his gimmick has changed, it's like everything changes from there on. Let's go back to the subject of, you know, The Undertaker and Roman Reigns. We kind of got off track for a second. But so now everyone wants to ask, is The Undertaker retired? I'm going to say no on this one. Why? For a couple of reasons. You know, let's go back to WrestleMania 30, where the streak was broken, everybody was in shock, and The Undertaker, you know, Brock Lesnar, his music hits, he exits the ring, and The Undertaker is just laying on the mat, he sits up, and the look on Undertaker's face, I remember somebody on YouTube commented there, like, when The Undertaker, you know, rose up, it wasn't The Undertaker, it was Mark Calloway. You can see on his face, you know, it's like, you look at Undertaker's face, it's like, it's not The Undertaker, you know, he doesn't have like that, you know, grim reaper look on his face, you know, the guy, you know, the streak just ended. So, a lot of people were convinced that The Undertaker, you know, he walks out down the ramp, you know, the lights are dimmed down, he disappears in the smoke. A lot of people thought that's it. And let's go back to WrestleMania 32, where, you know, he faced Shane, and after the match, you know, he pinned Shane 1, 2, 3. A couple seconds later, he takes off his gloves and he leaves it in the ring. And everybody thought that, oh, that's it, you know, facing Shane McMahon, Hell in a Cell, his body probably can't take it anymore. He took off his gloves and now he's retired. The argument now is that, oh, The Undertaker left everything in the ring, both figuratively and literally, because he left and, you know, he took off, you know, the hat and the gloves and everything. You know, there still hasn't been an official announcement that The Undertaker has retired from wrestling. If you really think about it, where there is speculation, where there is rumors, a lot of people also come to conclusions. Well, you know, when rumors come up, when speculation comes up, everybody wants to conclude something from all these rumors and speculations. The WWE, The Undertaker, Vince McMahon, no one has publicly stated that, yeah, The Undertaker is retired. That's it. He's done. And I don't believe he's done. I feel like Undertaker has that one more classic 5-star match left in him. As much as people don't want to believe so, in my opinion, Undertaker is not done yet, because nothing has been officially said. Anything that has been said has been through, you know, social media and all the fans around the world. Nothing has been officially said by The Undertaker, by Vince, by anybody in management. How would you conclude, you know, his career? How would you, you know, close up his Undertaker's career? So here's what I think. I think that in order for The Undertaker to, you know, have one last great feud that's going to actually mean something, in my opinion, I feel like what they need to do is forget about the rest of 2017. I feel like The Undertaker should stay at home, you know, recuperate, you know, collect himself. And I believe that in 2018, you know, when Brock Lesnar is, you know, having, you know, he's obviously going to face Samoa Joe at Great Balls of Fire, which I think is probably going to get, you know, lingered on until SummerSlam, and then, you know, they'll probably, you know, have someone go over fair and square. But I feel like what they should do is, bring Brock Lesnar back at the beginning of next year for a big pay-per-view match. Whether it's at Royal Rumble or at Fastlane, in the middle of, or not even in the middle, let, Brock Lesnar, beat, someone clean or whatever, and either during or after the match, have The Undertaker come out, run an interference, maybe chokeslam Lesnar, and then the next night on Raw, have The Undertaker come out and, cut a promo stating to Brock Lesnar that, hey, WrestleMania is coming back to where it all started. It comes back to New Orleans, the same arena where The Undertaker streak ended, the same place where The Undertaker streak ended. And because, let's be honest, a lot of people might say, you're probably forgetting these guys already faced off at SummerSlam and in Hell in a Cell 2 years ago. Yes, they did, but if you really think about it, I feel like that feud, that, the SummerSlam fight was so tainted. Once again, I feel like The Undertaker needs to have that one clean win over Brock Lesnar. And if you're going to do it at WrestleMania, the same place where The Undertaker streak came to an end. Because what better way to give The Undertaker his last match, have it mean something, be against the guy who, time and time again, Undertaker has just fell short. He's fell up short. The one time that he did defeat him, there was sort of, some underhanded tactics there. But to have The Undertaker come back, he can even state, this will be my last battle, my last duel. Either I will rise or I will fall, Have him announce that this will be my final fight, go to WrestleMania, face Brock Lesnar, beat Brock Lesnar fair and square, no shenanigans, no interference by Paul Heyman, no nothing. Have The Undertaker go back to where it all started. Get a closure from, the streak ending. Undertaker, beats Brock Lesnar 1, 2, 3. Undertaker retires either at WrestleMania or the next night. That's how I would do it personally. Is it going to go that way? I highly doubt it. I don't think so. But I feel like the WWE should really pay attention to the fact that they're coming back to New Orleans. 3 years after the streak ended, why not have, a closure, some type of story. It could be like one of those stories where, it comes full circle, where this all started a couple of years ago and now here we are again. I don't believe that The Undertaker has been retired, so to speak. I feel like The Undertaker has one more match left in him, and it shouldn't be at SummerSlam, it shouldn't be at Royal Rumble, it should be at WrestleMania. Have WrestleMania 34 be, Undertaker's final WrestleMania, where he comes back and, he's trying to avenge his name from the one most powerful loss that he's ever taken at a WrestleMania. Have him come back and this time put on a classic 5-star match. Let them go all out if they want. It's The Undertaker's final match. At the end of the match, Undertaker, maybe he tombstones Lesnar, 1, 2, 3. That's it. He avenges the loss and The Undertaker retires. So, that's how I would do it. So that concludes the first episode of the Anything Wrestling podcast, guys. I hope you guys were able to enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that The Undertaker has retired? Do you think he possibly has one more match left in him? Let me know what you guys think. Once again, thank you so much for joining me on this first episode of the Anything Wrestling podcast, and I will see you guys all next time.